Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Agoge show. Today I'll be your host because Nick's kicking it over there, having a good time. I think he's catching up on some emails or some shit. But we brought our good friend Joe, and obviously staple on the panel here, Mr. Josh Honsberger. Alrighty, today, Joe, can you build muscle and burn fat at the same time?
Yes.
Simple. There you go. End of the show.
Done.
You're welcome.
We're good. You're welcome.
Cut cameras.
End of day.
It's a wrap. Okay. Hypothetically speaking, either one of you actually at this point, if I wanted to build muscle and burn fat at the same time, what am I doing?
Controlling your diet and stick it to a consistent training plan. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
I know this, but the guy on the other side of the camera is thinking, nah, Joe, you know what you're talking about. You're full of shit. I tried this and failed.
You didn't have a coach. You did it wrong. That's it. Because you absolutely can. You're probably making shit decisions with your diet. Mm-hmm. You're probably not doing the cardio you need to do. You might say, well, fuck, I go for a 60-minute walk every day. Well, then pick up the pace. Because there is going to be a point to where there's diminishing returns. Your 60-minute walk might need to turn into 90 minutes, or you might need to turn into 30 minutes and turn into a run. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not progressively overloading your capacities on a continuous basis, you're not going to continue to progress.
Agreed.
It's just how things are in every single thing in life. Now, food's a staple. You just make those micro changes over time, turn those changes into habits, change your whole lifestyle, but that can stay relatively consistent. As you get older, obviously, things change slightly, but food's always going to be food. You know, chicken's always going to be quality, turkey's always going to be quality, beef's always going to be quality. Mm-hmm. You know, hamburgers, if it's a clean ground beef, it's going to be quality, but if it's fucking Pizza Hut, probably not the way to go.
You're missing the mark on that one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Josh, a guy signs up for the Agoge, and he's 200 pounds, 5'11", body composition sucks. He just looks like a rectangle. And he's like, hey man, I need to recomposition this thing. I need to put on muscle and burn fat. What are you doing with them? Like, run us through like the next 90 days.
Let's see, first of all, get an accurate, as best as humanly possible, understanding to where they're at, right? So if they have access to, you know, an in-body or some other sort of a scanning mechanism that can get a little bit more metrics behind there, that would be beneficial. And if they don't have access to that, we can go off surely just, you know, measurements, height, body weight. That'll get us in the ballpark. And then pictures too, right? Because numbers can be deceiving at times, but pictures will show maybe a little bit more, you know, of what's going on. So that's just that type of representation. Then from there, I would like them, this is what I like to do, is I like them to just log their food for like a week. It's really hard for a lot of people to do, is I ask them to not change the manner in which they're eating or have been for the last week, the last month, the last 3 months, something like that, right? So I want to see where they're navigationally, humanly being drawn to and what they're consuming.
So that's current intake prior to the changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if they're just coming on,
So you know what to tweet.
you know very well that,
Yeah.
you know, people can have a misguided representation or perception upon what they're eating. So especially if you've never logged before, dude, I'm guilty as fuck, man. Like Nick used to tell me
I'll log
forever,
it all.
like, never log food, make the best estimation as humanly possible. You know, most people aren't going to be able to do it. So we got to get in the habit and the understanding of what the hell does weighing food look like?
And what does 200 grams of protein look like?
What does 200 grams of protein
average Joe
look like?
reckons they eat enough protein.
I'll
They're
take
not.
it
And
less.
then,
80
like,
grams
you guys
maybe.
did the test. We talked about this in an episode like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But you guys did a test, and the average intake of protein in your Agoge was like 60 grams of protein a day.
67 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's
If I
fuck
wanted
all.
to be more
That's
accurate,
breakfast.
right? So there's a misunderstanding
Right.
between what you're consuming, what you believe it to be, and then maybe that's why you're like leading your life in the manner in which you are, because you're just not aware of what's going on. So I like to see what they're eating first. And then as long as we have the understanding that we're going to be honest with each other, I don't give a fuck what you're eating. Hot dogs, sausages, a case of beer. Like, obviously I do care, but I want to know what's going on. So be honest with me, be honest with yourself about what you're eating, log it. Then we can go in and we can look at the numbers. Overall, you know, overall caloric intake, macro breakdown, and then we can get into what I would like them to be eating, right? And what I think they should be eating. And then if the bridge is too far, like there's too big of a gap between those, then we can start making some incremental changes and moving them in that direction.
Right.
So
Like fix breakfast first.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
later on, a month from now, when your breakfast is dialed, we do lunch. And then
Yeah.
eat whatever you want for dinner. I don't give a fuck.
And then at that point, once they're logging their food, I can look in there and see what is that food being comprised of. What are the numbers on the caloric and macro breakdown? What is it being comprised of? Because maybe, in the beginning of the day, we just shift your quality of food. I begin to take out an item or change an item for something else. Like we just make a swap for something, right? Because we have to buy it.
Yeah. And also, if you do too much too fast, you hit that ball with like that resistance.
Yeah.
Oh, God, there's no way I can do all of this. There's no way. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too difficult for people who have never done it. Too difficult for people who have never done it before.
Correct.
Generally, to stay on track. When you completely turn their shit around 180 degrees, some men it works for, but not a whole lot of them.
And if you're
a lot of men
in a
need to be-
hole like that, more than likely you're not someone who can flip the switch that easily
Right.
and just make it happen.
Right.
You're
Again, there's
resistant to
human
change.
anomalies out there. Everyone thinks that they're going to be the guy who can, but when push comes to shove, we ask them to do that. Most men come in, they're like, yes, I will do whatever it takes, right? Like, I will
a
do
week.
this, I will eat this, I will do that, I will do this. And we give them very simple steps, and they can't even make the first couple. Okay. To me, although I may not like it, and it's not going to get him there as fast as he wants, that's okay. Because now we have an understanding of what you're able to do, or what you're willing to do, I should say. Then start doing more of what you're willing to do. If that's the first thing that I have to
Well, yeah, the best diet's the one you're going to stick to.
Correct.
Plain and simple. Like, that's just facts.
Okay, so let's dive into that then. Let's say macro breakdown, high level. Like, where would you start someone, assuming that they eat like shit and their macros suck?
So they show up, what, like 5'11", 220 pounds at what, 20%? No background in
30%
weight
like
training.
that. Yeah.
Like
Well,
no background or anything like
background
that?
doesn't matter. They train a little bit. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But, I mean, their physique would suggest that
Let's say
don't.
they haven't trained it. Okay, so like 4 or 5 years, they've been just eating like shit, not doing anything, sitting behind a desk. It's going to be dependent on their size, generally, and what they're currently consuming. Because, I mean, I have guys that think they're eating enough, that think they're eating too much. And the dude's eating like 12, maybe 1,800 calories. Like, that's honestly not enough. We'll actually lose more weight if we clean up your food so your body can assimilate it and process it more thoroughly instead of having processed stuff all fucking day. We might have more calories in total, but your body's ability to process them is much more effective, and your digestion's much more effective. And then if you also start drinking more water, you start to have it, just a general sense of well-being becomes better. And then at that point, we look at what the scale's doing. We give that 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days. Stay 85% compliant to this program. And then at that point, we'll start turning some dials. All right, cool. You dropped 14 pounds in 2 weeks. How do you feel? Energy's good, man. I feel fine. Keep it going. And then when we plateau, that's when we'll start manipulating macros to the point we start turning a few dials. All right, how's your energy? Energy's good. Let's pull back a little bit of fat or carbs or whatever it ends up being for that particular person. Because everybody processes macros a little differently. While some guys work really well on high fat and low carb, I work really well on super high carb, moderate fat. But if I go high fat, low carb, I'm not worth a fuck. So that's just me. But also, like my first coach, John Anderson, he was keto and he was a professional strongman. He was a 300-pound professional bodybuilder as well. Like, the dude's a monster.
He's
Yeah,
a beast of the human.
he's crazy, dude.
Yeah, he
he's
is.
crazy. But like, he's keto. He eats no carbs, but he looks the way he looks. So different strokes for different folks. You just have to figure out, as a coach, you would have to dial in and figure out what works for them by asking the relevant questions that'll correlate to the particular macro.
Yeah. And like, one of the things that if you're not prepared to do the coach thing, or you're like, hey man, I don't think I need a coach just yet, just assess how you feel after your meal. Like,
Yeah.
20 to 30 minutes after your meal, if you feel like you need to take a nap, that's not the meal you should be eating. That's the wrong meal. Like, there's something in that meal that doesn't agree with you, and you need to figure that shit out.
Should be an alert mechanism going off saying,
Yeah.
there's warning lights on my dashboard, making me feel like shit, making me want to go to sleep,
Right.
crap my brains out, excessive gas. Something is going off. You might want to take notice of it.
Yeah, but additionally, like, if you know what's bad and what's good, you should be drinking 6 fucking sodas a day. So make the conscious decision. All right, I'm gonna cut it back to 3, and then I'm gonna cut it back to 1, and then I'm gonna start having diet, and then you start pulling it out entirely, and you start having fucking sugar-free tea or some shit like that. You start just minor changes over time, create the habit. The habit creates the lifestyle creates the physique. For most men that are generally just trying to get back into general fitness, a little different for bodybuilders and all that, but
it's a
a lot different.
We're so, like, there's levels.
Generality.
Levels to this.
But again, that's not the 5'11", 220 guy. That
Right,
is,
no, right.
being
correct.
a dad, working 9
He's
to
watching
5.
on YouTube
in-
channel, trying to get a little healthy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's your clients. that is already stage ready.
But I mean, like, yeah,
training things up.
I mean, come to the Agoge, get in shape, and then become a bodybuilder.
Agreed. Like, okay, so to put a bow on this, if you were to give someone a fundamental plan, just so that we can leave the guys watching with something where they can take it away and they can implement it today and run a plan for 90 days.
Okay.
Like, what is each of your plans? Let's go through it and then at least give them something where they can, like,
Nutritionally?
okay, I'm going to do this.
Referring to like nutritionally or training as well.
Both. Like,
So nutritionally,
cheat code.
cut out all the processed foods. Stay on the outside of the grocery store generally, outside of like for your rice and stuff. Maybe some of your salts and your seasonings, but meats, berries, nuts, veggies, fruits. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Just eat like a fucking caveman.
Yep.
You know, that's it. Rice, potatoes, moderate on the potatoes. I feel for myself, if I eat more than like a pound, I get real bloated. But everybody's different. The same with oatmeal. If I eat more than 3 cups of oatmeal in a day, I get bloated. But that's me. But those are the things, like you were saying, you need to pay attention to. And if that you don't agree with that, well, I'm good on 2 cups or a cup. Well, cool. Keep eating oatmeal because it's a quality carbohydrate and it's full of nutrients. But at the same time, if you're eating 3 and it makes you feel like shit, then fucker, don't eat 3.
Right.
Have the 1 and then just keep going. Figure something else out. Cream of rice itself, anything, man. Like fruits, veggies, just eat clean. And as far as training goes, find your red line, take about 3 steps back from that if you're brand new, and then just basic general push-pull legs, walk, hit some machines, get on a treadmill, just play. Just I'm gonna hit my chest today, and then just walk around the fucking gym, hit all the machines and figure out which ones you like to use, and then just do some generic, 4x10. Nothing crazy hard, like RPE 6 to 7 if you're brand new, just to kind of get your body familiar to the movement patterns while still at the same time conditioning the muscle to a new type of stress.
They're brand new. They don't even know what RPE is.
Okay, so 60% effort.
Yeah.
What 100, your 100, dial it back 40%.
Right.
There you go. Or
Like
so.
that. Josh?
Going full on program here.
Right.
Full on like lifestyle program.
Everything, yeah. Start
So-
to finish. Like, they should be able to leave this video, they go, fuck it, I'm running this play. And like taking notes.
Nutritionally, we've mentioned it many of times, but I will state it again. Single source ingredients of food. If counting calories, counting macros, weighing your food, if that's not your fucking thing, if it's just too far outside the box, okay. Stick to your single source ingredient on the products and the food that you're consuming. When you do eat, right, make a protein-centric action, right? So the first thing you're looking for is that going to be that protein item. If you're unaware of what that may be, right? We're looking for something that had a face, and now you're eating it, or maybe some eggs too.
Yeah.
All right, so that's like the nutritional side.
Eating the face there.
The consumption of liquids, keep it to water and black coffee, as best as humanly possible. If you're in the completely opposite direction, begin to down-regulate it or reduce your consumption on those. And your objective is, water, coffee. So that's on the nutritional side of the house. I didn't want to call it a training program. Let's just call it like human movement. So let's move the human body.
Right.
So I like to figure 13 minutes of physical human movement. All right. That could be a 15-minute walk in the morning when you first wake up, and it could be a 15-minute walk in the evening after dinner, preferably, right, before you go to bed. Or maybe that's mowing the lawn today, right? Instead of using the ride-on lawnmower, like maybe you fucking mow the lawn. Or for me, like a lot of my stuff is I'll do like weed whacking and stuff like that. So find something outdoors and move your body. If it's too cold, do it indoors. Aside from that, do some bodyweight mechanical exercises. Like if you're someone who really just hasn't moved in a long period or duration of time, basic human movement patterns, right? Like a squat, like standing up and sitting down out of a fucking chair. Being able to push yourself off the ground, a push-up, right? Like how can you do it? Can I do it? Can I move my body? Try and do a pull-up. Can I pull myself up off the ground? If that's where we have to start, we can start there. Sleep. Right? Maximize your sleep. I'm not telling you to sleep like 12 hours a day, but take a look into how much you're sleeping. And then, like Joe had talked about or someone else had mentioned, if I'm sleeping 6 hours a night, that may be a decent number, but how am I feeling when I wake up? If I feel like shit, okay, did I eat something wrong? And then you can start kind of dial it back to figure out what may be a root cause. So that's training, nutrition, sleep. Get outdoors and see some sunshine. I don't think people do that enough nowadays.
Agreed.
Today is a beautiful day outside. And we haven't been outside much.
At all.
Take advantage of what's out there. If you live in an environment where they don't come that often, like, get the fuck outside. Take your walks outside.
Yeah, it's like a reset, too, in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Just breaks the pattern and the consistency of just in that loop. But I would challenge one thing. I know you might not want to track your food, but the reason you are where you are is because you got comfortable and you've done comfortable shit for too long. Like, do something uncomfortable. Track your food. Get some real hard data behind you and see. Because like we talked about an episode or two ago, have those hard conversations. Like, fucking stand naked in the mirror and look at yourself and tear yourself apart if you have to. Look at your bank accounts. Ask your wife where you're at. Like, this is things that we have to do as dudes because it's very easy to get comfortable. Like, if I don't want to track my nutrition, I don't have to. I know roughly what 6 ounces of chicken looks like and stuff. But you also, there's that room for error.
But it took time of tracking to
For a
understand
long
that.
fucking
Yeah,
time.
no, absolutely.
Right.
I don't measure my stuff the same.
Yeah, we can intuitively eat, but and I hate to use the word we've earned the right, but it's like through sets and reps of doing the shit that we didn't want to
Fucking
do.
decade of it.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Now we can look at a plate and go, okay,
good.
I'm pretty spot on with what's here. Like, I know roughly what my macros.
And that's also dependent on what you have coming up. If it's generally like for you, we're just eating to
day-to-day
eat.
life.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're
Then-
getting ready for a show or something, it's
if I'm
definitely
photo
count.
shoots or prep, then it's, dude, you can't be off by a gram. Like, we give a shit about sodium at that point.
Yep.
Like, how much salt am I fucking eating? So
Yeah. The
again,
comfort and the misperception
Today.
about where you're at has probably
Did you add
slid
me?
you to the point to where you're
Okay.
either watching this now or questioning yourself or your lifestyle.
Agreed. So, I mean, these two guys have given you literally a roadmap of what you should be doing. Take the key pieces that like suit you, peel back a few layers on your life, on your patterns of life, because your patterns of life have got you to a point where you're unconditioned and now you're asking questions like, can I build muscle and burn fat at the same time? Absolutely you can. Every single person in this room has done it. So it's not impossible. We're not genetic freaks. I sure as fuck don't have the genetics.
I wish I was.
Like, I wish I did. That would be awesome.
I mean-
don't. It's just sets and reps and doing hard shit consistently. And stuff that I might not necessarily think I want to do, but I know it's good for me, so I do it anyway. Get to that point. That's how you at least get the ball rolling. And then at some point, you're going to hit a plateau. Like Joe was talking about, you're going to hit a point where the results you get are there and they stick. That's when you start investing in a coach, or if you're wanting to push the envelope a little bit further, that's when you go that route. But truth be told, when I was 40% body fat, I didn't hire a coach. I knew all the shit I was doing wrong. Hey man, don't eat 2 pizzas a day and a gallon of ice cream. Maybe don't try and drown your sorrows every single night and escape reality.
Yeah, but you have really good self-accountability.
Yeah, we had that conversation with yourself, and you're like, hey man, the shit that I'm doing is getting me this result. I don't like this result anymore. I want this result, so I'm going to do this instead.
Right.
Like, it is that simple. But if you do need a coach, there's a link in the box below. I don't think there's another company on earth that has better coaches than us. Not gonna lie. Like, that's not me going, I'm hyping up our shit. We have like 12 coaches that are probably the best in the business.
Extreme attention to detail in
Well-rounded.
the care about what each person has going on in their life to make it individualized enough as humanly possible to them, for whatever the hell your outcome is. It's not about our outcome.
Yeah.
It's not about Byron's desired outcome. I may have my own, like, wants and wishes for someone,
Sure.
but if it ain't theirs, like, I want to get them to their point.
Agreed. And no two people are the same. So the play that works for me, like Joe was saying, he works well on a high carb diet. I work better on a high fat diet.
Yeah, there you go. There you
So
go.
like, there's 2 examples right here next to each other of different diets that work completely differently for 2 different people. So we can give you as many cheat codes as we want, but until you trial things for yourself,
For a
you're
period
never,
of
ever
time
gonna
that's
know.
relevant.
And give it a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not I didn't see a result this week, so fuck it.
Motherfucker, it's been 7 days, dude.
Give yourself a couple months. Like, play a longer game. You guys got any final parting words before we put a bow on this?
No, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll be in there answering questions. Just if you got questions, just holler at us.
Yeah.
More than happy to help.
We're good.
Nice one. We'll catch you guys next week.
Cheers,
Have a good
guys.
one.
Later.